On with there. Welcome to the program that's designed for the man them with guests who are men, hosted by men. We call it the mailbox. And it's aired every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101 FM, the family station. The mailbox is sponsored by Fosrich Company Limited, your electrical, solar, and lighting people. I am Courtney Morrison, and with me is my co-host, Sir Kevin
Yep,
Bailey. Kev, how you doing?
I am good. I'm good, giving thanks. Great to be with the man them from Moran Point in the grill. We say big up. This is the mailbox. We have been honored, privileged to serve you for so many years, almost 10 years. And every week on Wednesdays at this time, we challenge, encourage, and empower our men. So, what an honor, Courtney, to be here another Wednesday. So,
Indeed,
how
it
about
is.
you? How are you doing?
A little bit exhausted. It has been a challenging week. So much to do. So much happened in the last couple of days. Um, Helped a parent with her son who needed medical attention. She was very distraught. Spent quite some time with her at the Spanish Town Hospital. Uh, had to help another parent who, things weren't going so well with the relationship, but it has been a trying week. Yet today, I celebrate with my daughter, Crystal Morrison, her 30th birthday, significant milestone for her. I have never dreamt that I would have children, much less one 30 years old.
Ah, congratulations to her as well, and trust that you will be able to get some rest and some respite as you manage the different things in your hand. So the law holds the view that parents have responsibilities towards their children and that it is the child that has a right to have an ongoing and meaningful relationship with both of the parents. Many separating parents are often unable to reach an agreement between them on how much contact a father will have with the child due to the tensions and issues following a separation. In such circumstances, the father may need to make an application to the family court to legally obtain contact with his child. Can be a challenging situation, Courtney.
Yeah, and I think it's a sad one that a father tends not to get the same rights. But listen to this, when you and your ex partner separate and there's a child or children involved, what immediately happens and will depend on a number of factors and your not so unique circumstances. It's fairly popular these days. What would you say? And is there any truth if I told you men fulfilling their traditional responsibilities as fathers could solve all the world's problems? What would you say? And does it hold true if I told you that women step up when men step away, but that women resent having to do that and are weary and angry at men who neglect their traditional responsibilities as fathers, husbands, sons, and brothers?
Yep.
What do you
So,
say?
yeah, this is not to say there isn't plenty of goodwill between the sexes. And I'm very encouraged to see our men walking with their children, walking with them on the bicycle, on the bikes, in the cars, and I suspect on the donkeys and mules in the rural areas. That's what we're accustomed to as well. But I think we can agree that the world faces some challenges. Some people say it's in a mess. I think there is a message in the midst of that, right? So today, our Pre-Father's Day episode, we'll be looking at his entitlement as a father. Does he have any entitlement as a father? Do all fathers have the same right? Those who are rich and those who are not so rich, educated, uneducated, and those who are having six pack and those who are fluffy. How much access should a father have outside of wedlock? Is the mother more entitled to the child than the father? Courtney, I know you know these things, right?
You've been to the family court so often and you ask the question, why does it lean towards the mother? And it's awesome to hear some answers. What are some reasonable access a father can have to his child after divorce or separation? Why does the child go with the mother in any case? Are family courts damaging families, or are they bringing families together? Our guest with us this week is Javin Foreman, father of three. He's a marketer, project director at Fathers Incorporated Gentle Warriors Academy, where he oversees a $5 million grant that impacts Metro Atlanta fathers ages 18 to 14. Exciting.
Yep, he is committed to impacting causes that affect black and brown teens, adults, and adolescents. As a youth development practitioner, Javin has been involved with programs in Chicago for civic organizations, including the Illinois Department of Human Services and Chicago Public Schools, where he served as program manager for multiple initiatives. Welcome, welcome, Javin. Are you there? Welcome to the mailbox. Well, I'm sure we're going to be connecting with Javin in a moment. But it is going to be a wonderful time. Man, father man, stepfather, grandfather, uncle, father figure. Remember, we want to hear from you. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. You can leave your comments via our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Ladies, thank you so much for your participation. Big up. We really appreciate your prayers, your support, your encouraging words. You can participate in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp or comment on our Facebook page. Remember, no calls or voice notes allowed from ladies. Encourage the man them to do so.
Yes, indeed, ladies, we thank you for being a part of the program. So important. So listen up. What is a man's right as a father? Does he have any, or does he only have a left? What are some things he must do? What are there things that he must avoid doing? What if he's separated from the child's mother? How much access should he have? Should he have the child, or should the mother try to have access? Can stepfathers have child entitlements? Where do one draw the line? Is there need for a line to be drawn? Today we have some questions and we're going to check some answers. But we want to shout out to the man then, because this is a very big topic. This is a topic dear to my heart. This is a topic that we want to discuss. You know, are there really father's entitlement, or are there other things that we need to look at today? And so the man, Kevin, we really want to shout out to the KC man them, class of graduate at 82, because you asked about my weekend, and we spent time planning for, I can't believe something leave KC 40 years ago.
Huh?
And we try to have a reunion for the 2nd of July, for all those who were in the class at 82. Brethren, just for try to see what some of the man them look like. But the sad part, we hear that at least 21 of our classmates have passed. Really sad. So we want to shout out to all the man, whether you go KC, Morant Bay, Calabar, whichever school you go, as long as you're a man. We shout to you. I shout out to all of my Calabar friends and on the hill when I go walking in the morning who take me on every day. And the JC man them. We shout out to all of the man them anywhere in the today. All of the Christian man, all of the man them when are Christian. Rasta Ballad, Dread. All of them we want to shout out to. So after 3 we want to shout out to all of it today. 1, 2, 3. Monday!
Yeah, man in at a place for true. And
Yes.
so important that we continue to encourage our men. And we have so many men there, just harnessing their will and using their talents, abilities, giftings. Big up the man them plant the food, and so that we can
Yes.
have sustainable food security. We have the people that will transport people and make sure they are safe, the conscientious drivers, them respectful. We really want to thank the man who go out and just work hard and committed and keeping our children safe and our women. We admire them as we work together. So, Courtney,
I
very,
want
very
to
important. Yeah.
I want to commend the men, the man said to the man them too. While you're keeping the woman and the children safe, keep yourself safe. It is shown that 85% of who is not safe in this nation is our men, although they are greatest perpetrators. So protect yourself. And the crime situation is horrible. I mean, in Spanish Town yesterday, what occurred. And, you see some of the footage on camera. Brethren, it's rough. It's rough for the man, then. But indeed, we have to continue to pray. We have
No,
to continue to try to mold, shape,
indeed.
re-educate, re-socialize. It is cause for more than concern. It is cause for a time to stop, reflect, pause, to do something different. Something needs to give, Kevin. Something needs to give.
No,
We're going to go for a
definitely.
break
We
and
were
then come
created by
right back.
God to.
Eh? I didn't hear you. Say that again.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No, no, I was saying, God has given us an amazing brain and created in His image so that we can solve problems. We're created to be creative, innovative. So we have what it takes inside of us. God is waiting on us to solve it, not we waiting on Him, which is what many persons have been doing. And I just want to remind the man and man them that all of us together, collaboratively, using our collaborative brain, we can bring forth solution and set the example for young people that they will see hope and a brighter future than what we have right now. So just to say, God is depending on us to come up with all of these solutions as we partner with Him as well. So, Courtney, yes, we're gonna take a break.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be right back after this. Yeah.
Connected with Flow Fiber Fast Internet at home and on the road with LTE data and calls for a fast, reliable experience anywhere. Over 500 communities have been upgraded since 2020, making more of Jamaica Flow Fiber Fast. And with Yard and Road, get Flow Fiber Faster Yard and LTE Road for as low as $3,999 plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co to get connected on Jamaica's largest network. Conditions apply.
How can you save? Saving can seem like a dream for many at the best of times. But here are a few ways you can kick off your saving journey. 1. Open a savings account at a regulated financial institution. 2. Develop a budget. 3. Track your spending.
This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Many of our brothers and sisters lose hope when diagnosed with HIV. Some lose their will to continue being a part of society. Others are despaired by the challenges of keeping up with their treatment. We understand. But remember, people with HIV live normal and progressive lives every day. You can too if you get back on track with your HIV treatment. Live for you, live for someone, live for something.
Get back on track, get back to life.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Get $100 cash from Alliance for your birthday bash when you collect a MoneyGram money transfer on your birthday this June. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Kevin. Welcome back. Welcome back to those our listeners and those on YouTube and Facebook who are seeing us now. Welcome back. Welcome back. We took a break and we are here discussing the issue of entitlement. Are there entitlements that our fathers have, and how do we see them? It is something, or how do we all see them? And proposing that if we help to solve the father issue, that quite a number of problems would be solved. The question is, we have been talking a lot over the years. How do we empower the men and encourage them, elevate and motivate and get them to, I'm going to say this, but I know many people might not like it, feel valued. In speaking with so many men, they don't feel valued, they don't feel a part of. And when you speak to others, I said, they don't make themselves a part of it. So it's for them fault. If we can get to a place of stop blaming and how to elevate, I think we'd have such a better society, Kev? Such a better society.
Totally agree, Courtney. And we can play our part as well because we're all created in the image of God, men and women, and it's a collaborative effort. So, how can we recognize that and validate our men, affirm our boys to men, so that indeed we can take our rightful place in society? So, we're going to have a conversation. We do have challenges, and yet we can come up with solutions. Just want to remind our listeners that we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. You can leave your comments via our WhatsApp line at 816-997-3125. It's our pre-Father's Day show. Yeah! Father's Day coming up, and we want to big that up. We're looking on his entitlement as a father. Do all fathers have the same right? How much access should a father have? And outside of wedlock, is the mother more entitled to the child than the father? These are some of the important questions we're going to be asking our guest in a few, Courtney. What do you say?
Well, our guest is the expert on this one. I don't want to sit in the hot seat. I don't envy him at all today. I'm hoping to hear some answers on this one. Uh, it's a touchy subject for some men. It's a touchy subject for our women as well. Um, we want to ensure that we get it correct, get it right, and ensure that, as you said, that collaboration, that partnership that is supposed to occur, that it is not only in the best interest of the child, but also of the parents, that indeed the child will see that there is an amicable way of formulating solutions without the thing becoming bitter, you know.
So,
It is very important, very important. And if we
sure.
learn how to dialogue, learn how to negotiate, learn how to ensure that what we present, that even if separation occurs, that still there is life after separation, and good life can happen still, you know.
Definitely, Courtney. So, question: what are your thoughts on Father's Day, upcoming Father's Day? What is it that you're looking forward
Oh my
to?
God.
What's your evaluation?
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. Tell me, Courtney,
you
as
see,
a
you
father.
see how I just elevated myself from a seat, because for me, Father's Day is such a touchy subject. Very, very touchy subject. I firstly don't believe Father's Day is given the recognition it truly deserves. I think there are so many good fathers who are not highlighted. And whenever I hear the statement, Happy Father's Day to all the good fathers out there, I'm disturbed, because I don't say Happy Mother's Day to all the good mothers. We just say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I would love to hear that narrative change, whether or not we believe our men have gotten to the place where they should. So for me, I boycotted Father's Day on a number of occasions, honestly, because I think, men love to be celebrated. And people think, and this is what I love about the grace of God. David was not removed from the throne of God, although he had so many sins. God didn't remove him. God celebrated him nonetheless and still helped him. Not that he was not being spoken to by God or being chastised about his wrong, but he was being encouraged by still being relevant. Sitting not on his throne, by the way, because the throne of David was the throne of Israel, which was the throne of God. You know, if we can learn how to ensure that we are helping persons, even if they are not doing well, to get them to the place of doing well without discarding them. It is important. And by extension, even for Father's Day, for me, I look at even such things such as sports. If a team loses a match, the first thing they want to do is fire the manager. It's almost as if there's not a scope for really sitting down and talking and say, all right, you never do so well. Make we try. See, it's almost as if everybody has become this perfect being that once something goes wrong, sit down. I don't know. I need help with those things. But Father's Day, I believe, is a great day, should be celebrated as one. I mean, I am going to an evening on Father's Day that I know I will enjoy immensely, 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 immensely. You know, if I call out the name of the thing, they might think I'm giving a free advertisement for the thing. But two of our famous comedians will be doing something special. And this father going to that special Father's Day. But Kevin, I think when I see you, Kevin Bailey, and I know of Sam and I know of Muriel, when I celebrate Father's Day, I think of fathers that I know we are very appreciative. No matter how much any father tell them not sentimental, like, you know. But Father's Day is for me a special day, and when it is not celebrated as it ought to, I am. I think last year is one of the best Father's Day I've ever seen. I don't know if it's because online it got a wider scope. It's almost as if something else happened. It was elevated to a position. I go, yeah, Father's Day happened in the pandemic. Me, I'm biased and prejudiced on this one. Forgive me, everybody. I wasn't wearing my co-host hat nor my pastor's hat or any of those. I was just wearing a different hat.
Thanks, Courtney. Quite a lot of food for thought there. Personally, I'm excited about Father's Day. I've always been. I've never boycotted Father's Day, and I would never will. But that's where we have our own position. I'm always seeing improvement. I see where fathers we're getting better. We're learning. We're changing the narrative in spite of the challenges and the difficulties. Personally, of course, I don't know my father, not sure where he is. Happy Father's Day, Daddy, wherever you are. But I really just thank him for his contribution. I honor him, and that's an amazing thing. And I've learned what not to do. And that is so amazing. Again, it's the power of choice given by our eternal Father, God Himself, and I love that. And just want to say to the men, those who may not feel celebrated, that we want to celebrate you today. We really want to. And we really want to affirm you. We see the effort you're making in difficult situations. I do believe we're getting better in recognizing our fathers, maybe with social media and all of that as well. And I'm hoping that one day we will be there. Side by side, it's not a competition, it is us working together. My father is dead. That's
Henry
Clark
Scott.
here. And also my husband. I have to celebrate my son and the other men in my family. And that is, our
I probably need
condolences.
to explain my terminology when I say boycott. Um, I'm really talking about how it is not celebrated. There's not been a Father's Day that I have not been celebrated. So I couldn't say boycott as in abstain from Father's Day celebrations. But in terms of the terminology, it's how it is celebrated. I better say I protest how it is under
Okay.
celebrated. more than saying boycotted. Yes, I
Totally.
think that's the right terminology to use there for it. And
Yeah,
I,
yes,
I agree with you. Our fathers
yeah.
are doing better. But then I continue to wonder, when did we get to where we got to? because when I looked, I saw that there was a time that fathers were basically everything, you know. But with all of that, let's welcome our guest, Mr. Javin
Yes.
Foreman, father of three. He's here with us, and he's here to share with us, and he's going to be telling us about everything he can. Kev, if you want to, go ahead.
Sure. Welcome, Javin. Great to have you on the mailbox.
Absolutely, brother and
Yes.
brother Morrison. I'm delighted to be here all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, coming on down to you all in Jamaica. No better place to be right now. I need a little sugar cane, a ginger beer.
There we go.
Yes, and we will give you some jerk and ackee and saltfish as well. So we're gonna fly you down,
Yes,
right? So let's get straight into it,
yes,
Javin. I
yes,
know our time
yes.
flies. Tell us what are the roles and responsibilities of a father, the way you understand it. What are the responsibilities, the roles of a father? Help us to understand that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it depends on what lens we're looking at. I think father responsibility in several places. A father has a responsibility in his community, in his household, and absolutely in the lens we're talking about today in the rearing of his children. So, I think a father, a man, we have massive responsibility. And one thing I'll say, we have a responsibility not to necessarily accept the place that is given to us, but we have to get back to this place of masculinity where we're willing to step up and take our places in the community, at home, in church, wherever you might be. So I think we have a massive responsibility to shape culture, to shape lives, and shape the communities that we live in.
Agreed immensely. You know, do all fathers, in your estimation, have the same right? We're talking about entitlement to a child. Is that the culture? Is that what we see? Is that how it operates? We're talking about fathers' entitlement. Does he
Sure,
have the same
sure.
right?
Yeah, absolutely not. I think we're at a place in society and culture where I think we're undervalued. So I think just from a universal standpoint, I don't think very many people understand. To your first question, our value and what we really bring to the table as men. I think moms are looked at as nurturers, and that's absolutely true. But I think fathers, we bring some things to the table. And one thing physiologically that a lot of people don't know, when a child is born and a child is laid on his father's chest, that heartbeat syncs to a father's heartbeat, right? So even from a physiological standpoint, we have a connection, to our children that's deep, that people don't understand. And so one thing we'll get a chance to talk about, I think a lot of the things that we see men going through in society, this quote unquote toxic masculinity, are what you're talking about, fathers being denied, the ability to have their rights. I don't think the country, any country seems to be doing a bang up job of ensuring that fathers have their natural universal rights. It's like saying, does a farmer have a right to the food that he grows, to make a decision what he'd like to do with it? Imagine a farmer, what I say, imagine a farmer plants his seed, waters, feeds it for all of this time, and he's immediately taken away. So you don't even get a chance to see that crop grow. You don't know what happened to it. We're taking you someplace else. We're going to restrict you because you might step on it. You're clumsy. You're this big clumsy person, but you're a farmer. So I think that's where we are in society. So no, I don't believe that fathers have these universal rights that we should.
And so important it is for us to have this conversation in Jamaica. Not sure if it happens in Atlanta. The conversation that men do not have children, they get children, and the distinction. Just your thought on that, because I think it's important part of the conversation. Javin, your thoughts.
Sure. So I think that's a kind of a ridiculous statement, and I think it's kind of a feminist standpoint and viewpoint on how children need to be reared. There's no question at all that mothers are absolutely 100% essential, right? And we can look at the tangible things that mothers bring. I believe mothers are the key ingredient to civilizing children, right? But I think fathers, we have another thing that we bring to the table. You can look at the data that's out there when it comes to discipline, delaying gratification, all of these things. We look at all of these massive problems in society, and if you trace back to whether that father was present or not, you can look at a various assortment of issues, societal issues that we could that we could probably mitigate just by having fathers and men in the community. One story I like to tell is there was a jungle. It might have been the Amazon or someplace like that. Wherever it was, there were a group of chimpanzees running crazy. Young adolescent teen chimpanzees running crazy in the forest. They were, destroying the food. Wrestling with women, just doing all of this. They had just come over and taken over this forest, right? Because there were not a lot of adult male chimpanzees, in this area at the time. So, scientists were looking at, what they should do about it. So what they did, they went and got male chimpanzees from another brood someplace else, from another pack someplace else, and they dropped them into this area. And within days, they civilized, that community and that area at the time. So I think it's the same thing when we look at men in our communities. People just don't seem to understand what we bring to the table.
Thanks for sharing that, Sir Foreman. We sometimes hear a woman saying, "Is my child," or she said to the gentleman, "my son." And I encourage the ladies to say, "It's ours," because the young man may say, "I'm sure you know it's yours, but is it mine?"
Right.
That same statement, I believe, that Kevin said, we talk about men get, as opposed to have and ownership, as in, this is my child, leads to that. Outside of wedlock, is it that, I don't know if this is also the case in Atlanta or the US, is the mother more entitled to the child than the father? Or is it the same as in a marriage?
No, absolutely. So Georgia is one of the few states in the United States that still has this archaic law called legitimation, right? We're one of the few states that still has this. So in fact, a biological father has zero, unmarried. He has zero rights. If you're unmarried, you could have planned to have this child, for the last 2 years together, your long-term partner. You all have this child together. The father has zero rights until he petitions the court and takes the child through this legitimation process, showing DNA proof. The mother can kick back and fight against the legitimation process, make it harder, but he has to actually petition the court to get his rights. So we look at that first and foremost. Now, what you will see in certain court systems, things are changing where it used to be the child should belong with the mother, if there's a custody issue. Now you see things beginning to slowly come around some, but I mean, it's kind of judge by judge, sort of court by court. And if you have a savvy lawyer, many times you can go in and get this 50-50 custody though. But I still think there is this kind of maternal centric view in the United States. I'm not sure how it is in Jamaica, but there's still this maternalistic view. And I would not kick back against that. I believe that parents, co-parents should still try to find a way to remain family in some shape, form, or fashion. It shouldn't be this battle of wills necessarily. They should figure out how you can work together and get the best of each other. So that's what we teach in the classes when we have these fathers of all ages, 18 to 45, in these cohorts we do for 6 weeks at Fathers Incorporated. We teach them that's still your family. She wasn't a crazy baby mama when you met her at some place and you had her go home with you that night. And you dated her for 4 months. She wasn't that crazy then, but all of a sudden she's crazy now, right? So we keep it real.
Thank you, Javin Foreman here, helping us as we navigate the challenges. Good evening. There are many great fathers. Our listener says, I salute my dearest father, friend, and confidant. My father went to UK before I was born, but still looked after me, built a great relationship, was dependable, loving, and kind. Didn't know him in person until I was 13 years old, but still I knew him. He was there for me and is still there for me. Love you, Benjamin Williams. And there's another here from, yes, here from Spanish Town. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, biological, adopted, stepfather, grandfather. God bless you all. And Monday up, man in the place.
Hey,
So,
hey.
Yeah.
yeah, thank
That
you.
was an
Thank you.
interesting share, though, Sir Foreman, that outside of marriage, that the father was given absolutely no entitlements to that child,
Right.
and the mother could fight that way. In the case of divorce and separation, though, what are the entitlements of that father to that child? Is there still any form of restrictions? What happens?
Yeah, so what would happen in a case like that? The judge would ultimately make that decision. So what it comes down to, what we tell these guys oftentimes, the mother does not have more rights than you. She just beats you to the courthouse, right? Moms go and they handle their business. Where a dad will kick back and he just tell his boys, why he's sipping on a ting or something. Man, she just doesn't let me see my child. You have rights, you just have to enforce them. So in a case like that, they would look at the stability of the father, right? Can you pass a background check? Can you pass a drug test? So if you get a mom who's got an attorney and an investigator, she's gonna kill you in court, and so she'll present the case as she needs to, But I think judges will go in sort of leaning towards the mom. But if you're savvy to how to work these systems, which we talk, I don't even say work them, but just handle your business. So we talk to these dads about that, how you present yourself. You need to go in able to pass a drug test on the spot. You need to go in and show stability. What's the bedroom for the child? Do you know your children's teachers? What are their activities? Do you know the doctor's name? So you need to go in prepared. Now, if you're showing you don't know any of those things, mom probably will get the majority of custody, holidays and everything else, and you'll get a couple of days, But one thing we teach guys to do, go in and petition, say you want joint custody. You want 50-50 custody, right? Start there. Say you want full custody and work your way down. So I just think it's about, understanding the system, how to, deal with judges in the system.
Thank you, Javin. From your experience and working with the population, would you say that a lot of the ruling would go in favor of mothers, and would the economics of it, the stability financially, be a big factor?
Yeah, no question. Money absolutely plays a part. Because here's what I will say is that what the court is more concerned with, and I'll give you, Brother Morrison, a crazy example. So as I talked about that legitimation, here's the situation. I just ran into the first real case. So legitimation, again, for you all listening that might be hearing this, is in the state of Georgia. If a couple is unmarried, a father has a child with a mom, he has to go through this legal process to prove that he's the father, the legal father. He could be shown as the biological father, DNA test, but he may not be the legal father until he goes through it. So here it is, Brother Morrison. My wife and I, we decide to separate, right? She goes and she starts another relationship. Our divorce is not done yet. She meets a new guy. She becomes pregnant by this new guy. 4 months after we have not seen each other, not talking, maybe we're still co-parenting our other children, she becomes pregnant. In the state of Georgia, who do you think will be the father, Brother Morrison, in that situation? Who will be the legal father of that child?
The new gentleman in the relationship. That's
No.
who ought to be.
I would be the legal father because my wife and I are still married. We might be separated and she's dating this new guy. He wants to be the father, but legally, I'm still the father because we're married. So from the court standpoint, all the court really cares about is that this child has a father. They don't care if you're the father, if that person's the father, that's all they care. Now, what the other thing they'll do, they'll enforce child support. Right. In other words, she could just say he's the father, this guy over here, and they'll enforce child support. The other thing about that is while they enforce child support, you still may not have rights to see the child. There are plenty of men here in the States who pay child support and have no legal right to see the child. So absolutely, money is the major factor from the state standpoint. And the other benefit of going through legitimation is heir rights. If a father passes away, has a settlement, his child won't receive anything if that child has not been through this legitimation process here in the state of Georgia. So it absolutely is about money, no question.
Wow. Wow. I wonder if that's the same here in Jamaica, Kevin, where that seems a little bit tough. I we want to really stop and say to our fathers, hey, please become educated on responsibilities and
Yes.
entitlements in any of these situations.
Definitely,
What
coach.
if,
Absolutely.
huh?
No, I said definitely, and I wanted to ask Javin,
Yes,
what are some of the preventative measures,
yes,
for young men who are thinking of becoming fathers? They look forward to the day when they can wear this honor, of being a father.
Sure.
What would you say to them?
Sure.
Yeah, what can they do to make sure they're in a better place to do this
Sure.
important task? Yeah.
So I think it starts even before that, Brother Bailey. I think we have to start having conversations with our young men about choosing partners. I don't think anybody ever talks to young men about choosing a partner. This is someone you will be locked in. You can say 18 years, it's the rest of your life. You'll be locked in for the rest of your life. We have to start, taking a look at someone's character, not just how beautiful they are, not how they get down at the dance hall, how they can boogie the reggae. So we have to really begin to look at, the character of the people that we're dealing with, but also our character, right? So that's the first thing I would say, right? I would say the second thing, you do have to look at it as a business in a sense. Understand your rights as a father. Have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, the court system absolutely has a plan for you. Speak with your partner about it, or your wife. The best thing I would say is, if you're going to have a child, you should be married. It's the best system, at least here in the States, foundationally, to have a child in. And so that's why the court puts all these things. It may or it may not work, but at least you started out that way. But I think looking at character. The second thing, and the third thing I would say, men, we all need to have a group of brothers, a brotherhood. We call ours Fatherhood is Brotherhood. That's our hashtag on Instagram and our website, www.fatherhoodisbrotherhood.com. That's very crucial and critical, because who are men going to talk to? We're taught to hold everything inside. But in our groups, these men are bursting from the seams about the emotional damage that's been causing them not being able to see their child, or having a child. You may have had your daughter for the first 3 years of her life. Mom was off doing whatever she wanted to do. She decides she wants to come back, and the court gives the child back to her. She had custody, and you guys just did a thing in exchange, but you never really went and filed the right paperwork. So those are kind of the three things I say. Understand the responsibility, know who you're being with, but then have a brotherhood that will support your fatherhood.
yeah. Thank you, Devin. That sounds very important. Developing relationship and seeking to find out what character is. We here in Jamaica tend to say, find yourself first before you find someone else.
Yes.
You have to value
Yes.
and understand your position, otherwise you can't get into another relationship. But again, I mean, after listening to what you have explained to us, do you think the family courts, in terms of even where you explain that all they're looking for is a good father, even if you're not necessarily biological, do you think that the family courts are doing more damage than good in the situation? What's happening there with the courts when it comes on to
Yeah,
family?
I think they're doing I think they're doing the status quo, what they've been taught to do for years, which is to propagate the rights of women, or how the court has been seen. I think they're doing what they're taught to do. And again, what it comes down to is, when will we not ask for our place, but when will we take our place? Right? One of the things we do is we have volunteer attorneys who help us, who help us through the process. They sit and they go through these cohorts with the guys, and this legitimation paperwork. They teach them the system, and so what I call it is closing the trap door. So a dog will be a dog until you train him. until you say, hey, we're not going to stand for that anymore. I know I can get 300 men to show up at the courthouse tomorrow to protest a legitimation law because of the work that we've done. Or to boost up and prop up a judge, someone who we see is on our side that's really trying to do the right thing, and so that's how we have to look at it. But the system will continue to be the system. It's not against you, it's just the system. So until you petition it, you know how to pull the right levers of power, you do what you need to do, the system is going to do what the system does.
Javin, seems to be a challenging undertaking, very, very challenging, hard work. What advice would you encourage, us here, even in Jamaica, members of churches, members of community and clubs, and so what would you say to us in order to help our fathers to be in a better place?
Sure. So form the brotherhood. There's nothing stronger, I would say, than Black fathers in particular. There's no stronger force on this planet than Black fathers. So the strength is in numbers when we come together. You don't have to have all of the numbers, all of the answers, Brother Bailey, brother, but just do your part of it. Broadcasting, getting the word out, hey, we're meeting over here. You'll find that this brother over here, he has the insight. He knows the person. This brother here is good with the paperwork, right? And so you build it, and what you find is a lot of these guys come into us needing legitimation help, but what they really find themselves staying for is the brotherhood, and you'll fix a lot of it. We can't fix it. Sometimes it's just waiting it out. Hey, brother, we just got to hold you down until that sister changes her tone, until she realizes, we'll pray on it. We'll pray for the sister and go in righteously. Like I told a guy, he couldn't believe it. I said, look, man, Mother's Day was coming up. This was last year. I said, I know you've been into it with your child's mother and her mother. I want you to get them Mother's Day gifts. Take them over and spend a little time with your daughter over there. Oh, man, I'm not going to do that, man. Just take some flowers over, take something, a card over, tell her, hey, but beyond all the stuff, you've been an awesome mother. I don't think it's people out here who are maliciously looking to do the wrong thing per se, right? I think sometimes it's just, neglect that takes place, not understanding the people saying, man, I don't want to add another 4 hours of paperwork to my job by trying to change, how things are done. If I give this rule and everybody seems to be okay with it. But that's what I would say. Kick off the brotherhood. And when you put that call out, we have over 900 fathers who applied to participate in our program this year. And we only have 200 seats for the year. And we're probably going to open up another 100, right? So it's the brotherhood. That's what I would say, gentlemen. Please form that brotherhood with fathers, and it's gratifying. You'll get so much out of it.
Thank you. What would you say? What would a successful father, and I'm using those key objective words, successful father, look like, who knows his entitlements and is walking in them? What does that man look like? What does that father look like? Describe it so that for our men who are listening,
absolutely,
wants to walk in that success.
So it's a stand-up man. It's a man that can walk with his back straight, that doesn't feel like he has to hide from the system, not making side money, that he has to hide. He's standing straight up, and he has a vision for himself and for his children. I think that's the biggest thing. He knows his creator. He has faith. He's positive, and he's honest about his situation. He speaks on it. Hey, man, today was not a good day. It was a bad day. I didn't get along with my daughter this morning, man, but I'm going to figure it out. And I have other brothers that I can bounce on. Brother Morrison, you seem like you might be a little bit more patient than I am. How'd you get that demeanor? Because I know when my daughter says something to me, man, I just go off. But I know that's not how I'm supposed to do. That I can talk to my brothers and I can look, but I have a vision, and I know I don't know everything. And I'm growing alongside my children. I tell you one thing I've done is, I'm a former basketball player from Chicago. And so I know what basketball does. It gives young people, sports in general, a place in the world, right? Why they'll see themselves as athletes versus rappers or gangbangers or something else, right? So that was my vision. I know they'll make friends and they'll learn to take care of their bodies. So since my oldest son was 4 years old, we've been in the gym every Tuesday and Friday playing basketball. I have a younger son now. He just made 8 on Monday, God bless. And he's right there with us now. He's been in probably since he was 6 years old. And so But what I'm showing them is consistency. They see me and they ask me, Dad, did you get up and do your 5:30 in the morning walk this morning? I did, man. I did. So it's that consistency, But it's us. When our shoulders are square and we're standing up, it's nothing more powerful. We have to take our place in our homes, in our communities, and with our children.
Wow. Thank you for that encouragement there, Javin, and your personal experience as well, which is tremendous. So we have had challenges with not having the biological father name on the birth certificate. We have been getting better. I saw a last report that they have just done tremendously well. I think it's about 85% now of our fathers' names are on the birth certificate. So
Nice.
Registrar General, they have done just a tremendous work. But from where you sit, does it matter? Is it just a name, or is it more than the psychological impact? Does it really affect the sons, the daughters, from where you
No
sit?
question. We know the power of the name, particularly, if you deal with the scriptures, we know the power of words. That's legacy. We're talking about legacy, being connected to something. When that child one day wants to do his genealogy and his lineage, that name means everything. It's a thing called father hunger. When a child, every child has a father. The question is just where the father is, right? But every child has a father. Every father has a story. But what I always say is one day, if you give up and the child doesn't have your name because it was too much, one day they're going to say, Daddy, why didn't you fight for me? When they're 14 years old and old enough to have that conversation, man, it was too much, man, dealing with the courts and dealing with your mother. But absolutely, and we deserve that. We deserve for our children to have our names, as men. And we could say it's the patriarchy or whatever it might be. But I believe that there's a headship and that sort of thing, and not saying, we're above. I believe, women have absolute gifts that they bring to the table. I think men, I just feel like we're in a place now where our gifts are not recognized like they once were. Some misogyny had come in and things like that, what they call toxic masculinity. I don't think that has a lot to do with a lot of men that are out here trying to support communities, women, families, and everything.
I so love listening to you, Sir Foreman, and what you put forward here. It is important, I believe, listening to you and what you. I see where you oversee a 5 million grant that, and that's US dollars, Metro Atlanta fathers between ages 18 to 14. How does that operate? How can we do something like that in Jamaica? We have fathers groups in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Dr. Herbert Gale, who is listening, would know we basically get zero funding to help with fathers. How do you go about getting this so that we can do something here in Jamaica to help our men?
Yeah, so what I have to do is I have to take my hat off to our CEO, Kenneth Braswell, who's probably one of the foremost fatherhood experts in the country, But, there are a lot of not-for-profits out here. But what I will say is we run our agency like a for-profit, where we understand we have to have money. We just had a graduation event, an outdoor graduation event at a park this past weekend where we had about 40 guys graduate from our program, and we invited all of our alumni back. It was catering cost to put up a tent, fans out there at the park, games, everything that we did cost permits and everything like that. So we don't want to shortchange these guys because they're worth it. But here's what I'll say. The man that probably controls the budget you need to get to is a father. He needs to be a part of the brotherhood. He needs that brotherhood just as much. Just because you have money does not exclude you from the pain and the emotional damage that happens just being a man in this world, but being a father carries a whole nother set of things. As fathers, we're nervous every single day. Will our children be okay? Will our children make it? What will we leave behind for them? Every father has that same set of concerns. He could be big man CEO, running Red Stripe, but when he comes in, he's just daddy. And his kids clown him and say, Dad, you can't dance. You don't dress that well. Look at your fat stomach, Dad. And he takes the jokes just like the rest of us, right? You know,
Well,
but when he comes into that brother, you say, hey, we need $50,000 to do this fatherhood event. But here's the question, Brother Bailey. I would say, what's the pain point of fathers that you can dial into? The money will come. So if you're saying, hey, we want to push us up to 98% of the naming things, or we just want to put a set of goal where now fathers are spending 40% more time with their children, you know, in this province or whatever it might be. That's going to be our goal. Somebody will give you the funds. How much funds will it take? And it's going to be a father that controls that purse string, guaranteed. And so you're appealing as a father, you know. And so I'll just say our CEO has been very visionary the way he's approached doing this work. But you know, now Fathers Incorporated is kind of at a place where people know us. We're a brand. And so people are donating funds to us, but when those grants come up, they're looking for us to have them because we're passionate about the work that we do. And it's fathers that we're employing. And when we find a talented young person in our cohort, we find a way for them to be down with our team.
wow.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So probably might be the last question based on our time. But are you optimistic of father fathers doing much better for us getting our entitlement in quotation being at our rightful place? What are you seeing as you work? So talk to us about that, and probably
Sure,
just encourage men as well who are listening and what they
sure.
can do to make it better.
Yeah. So I think we're on the cuspice of our fatherhood probably being the linchpin in society for fixing so much damage that's happened in society. I think the dots will be connected very soon. I know youth violence has been a hot thing everywhere. Fix fatherhood, you fix youth violence, right? We fix a lot that's happening with fatherhood. We fix a lot of domestic violence issues, right? You fix fatherhood, any societal issue you can point to. If you fix fatherhood, you just about can positively impact that, right? But I think people are beginning to wake up. It's probably a hard pill to swallow with a lot of things that have been done, you know, in society, you know, to take our power away. You go back and you look at sitcoms. The sitcom is always the silly dad who gets joked and gets clowned. He's the silly guy who'll go sit in the corner, and mom runs everything, right? And the children have all of this say so, and the dad just works and gives his check, and he's kind of dumb. I think society has put us in that place. And as men, like I even know in my household, right? I'm gonna make sure everything runs, but I'm not gonna, you know, go at it with my wife about who's gonna make the final decision about this. I'm gonna make sure everything's. But if you want this color couch and all of that, it's fine, you know. And so I think we've kind of been in that place, and we've been kind of lethargic and complacent in too many areas of society as men and as fathers, and it's no other choice. What'll need to happen is they're going to have to begin, society will have to begin, governments to incentivize fatherhood, you know,
Yes,
incentivize fatherhood
I
because
agree.
your son will not be a school shooter if he has a father because there'll be no place to hide that
Yes,
gun. He will not be a gangbanger selling drugs or anything else because he'll have a sense of pride. Like my son, when he puts on the uniform, he's got my oldest, first uniform that has our last name on the back, right? That
Mm.
means a lot, son. That's got my name on it. You got to play a certain way. It's got your grandfather's name on it. He comes to all of his games with us. That's legacy
awesome.
stuff, you know. So
So
I think
put
we're
our
going to,
money where our mouth is. If we
yes,
believe that will solve the problem, and if we solve the male problem, put our money, fund male projects. I
yes.
want to say that's where we have to wrap today. Thanks to our
Okay.
producer, Fosterich Company Limited, your electrical, solar, and lighting people. Thanks to our producer, Tony K. Bromfield, to Timoy Butler for technical support to our listeners and those who joined us on social media. Thank you. Kev?
Yeah, a big thanks to our guest, Javin Foreman. Thank you so much, Javin. Time flew. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Listeners, catch us next week for another episode inside the program Designed for Men with guests who are men, hosted by Kevin Bailey, Courtney Morrison.
Yeah. To every father, stepfather, grandfather, or father figure, we want you to remember a happy family is a reflection of a good father and a loving husband. Happy Father's Day to all fathers when it comes. Next week, Monday.
All
Bless
right,
up.
Monday.
brothers.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, man.
Happy Father's
Bless
Day
up.
to you both. Bless.
Peace.
Bye bye.
We have a run them out when they got man.